Hey guys, it's Steve here from A470 RC Storing, and today for something completely different, as we used to say in Monty Python. So I'm down in Perranporth in Cornwall, and this of course is the home of the now famous...
I won't go that far.
John Woodfield.
Hi guys.
Okay, so now everybody who watches this video, I'm sure will know the name John Woodfield. They must have seen his videos on YouTube, flying all these vintage type models from the lovely Cornish slopes and sea cliffs along the coast here. So thanks, John, for seeing me.
You invited me down. Yeah,
it's a beautiful day. You got the weather for it as well.
Absolutely.
So yes, I've had a few people have come to me and asked me questions to ask you, you know, so I've got things like, so when did you first have an interest in aviation and model aircraft in particular?
Well, I suppose I grew up with it because my dad flew, still does fly, and he built model planes when he was a young boy.
Right.
So this was kind of early days of radio control. So family holidays were spent up in the Lake District.
Nice.
And we used to stay in a little cottage, and right at the back of the cottage was the field that went straight up into the hillside. Sorry if you can hear me all right, there's a bit of building work going on in the background.
There's an aircraft, I was just about to drop a parachute just to think. So
as a kid I was surrounded by model airplanes. My dad, we had a house which had 3 bedrooms, but one was always taken over by Dad's workshop kind of thing. So so happy kind of memories of kind of growing up at an early age and flying, and then we also then used to come down on holiday down here, down to Cornwall, did a lot of flying down here.
Yeah.
And then I suppose when I first left home, you kind of meet girls and other things get in the way, and then I didn't fly for a few years. But then probably took it up again, probably late 20s, I suppose, and then didn't do it for a few years again, and these things come and go, and so so it's always been there. So
I think that's the same for most of us of a certain age, you know. We've all been there, started off as kids and teenagers with tow line models, rubber powered and the like, and and then life gets in the way, and then we get back to it later.
Get more time in later life.
In life, isn't it? That's, so did your working life involve aviation at all?
A tiny bit. I mean, I was in the police force, and I was lucky enough to do 3 years on the police air support unit. So I didn't fly the plane or anything, but I was just an air observer. So that it just involved working the onboard cameras on board the airplane. So we had a fixed wing aircraft as opposed to a helicopter.
Right.
But yeah, mostly boats before I joined the police. So yeah, that was kind of my main interest, I suppose, in working around boats. But yeah, so only a tiny bit in my working life.
Okay, so and then most of the models we see you flying are what you would call sort of stick and tissue type models, you know, the old-fashioned vintage style. Is that always been the way you were with models, or was that something that you just took a real interest in later on? No,
well, I suppose I've always liked things that fly slowly, and I suppose when I flew a bit of power, I used to fly kind of old-fashioned, kind of, you know, the bend buckle stole type things where you could just land in a really tiny little area and fly really slow. But I think it's more to do with the fact that since I started the YouTube channel, the vintage gliders, they just look so good in the air because they've got the transparent coverings, and they're so much easier to film because a lot of them are quite big and they are flying kind of slowly and things like that. And I suppose a little bit to do with also the cost of these things, in that if you were to just go out and buy moulded gliders, you could be spending an absolute fortune, whereas I know a lot of people don't like the building, but I like the building side of it and I like the creativity side of it. So I can build a model, you know, like one of these ones behind me from scratch, and you can build it exactly the way you want it, and it doesn't cost an absolute fortune because it is just the cost of the wood and the covering. And once you've had a few flights out of it, if you sell it, you're selling it for, I know you're not covering your time, but you're probably selling it for as much as the materials got and everything that you put into it. So it's so yeah, I suppose it's cost, and I just like that style of flying. It's really nice when you're up on the slope, and it's just, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's just, you know, blowing 5 miles an hour on a lovely sunny day. And I find I suppose the flying is almost more challenging than when it's blown an absolute hoolie. And you can just, in a way, I just kind of get a little bit bored when you're just, you know, roll, loop, loop, roll, loop, loop with an aerobatic model. If you're flying kind of close in for the camera and doing these low passes, it's just what I like. It's just, just my bag, I suppose. So.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that's attracted me to these kind of old, kind of vintage models, but yeah, I guess they're the reasons.
You seem to have become a bit of an expert at catching your models as well, so I'm still working on that and failing miserably. But
yeah, well, it doesn't happen every time.
No.
That's the great beauty of video editing your own videos. You can edit it out when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
So
And talking about the videos, so you started your YouTube channel in 2008.
Was it really?
It was,
yeah,
2008.
Okay,
You got your very first videos, done my research, you see. So, and then since then you've had nearly 11 million views.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and you're about 31,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I mean, in this area of model flying, 30,000 subscribers is huge, really.
Well, I suppose it is worldwide.
It is, and you've become a global phenomenon, global name. You mentioned John Woodfield to anybody, and they'll say, "Oh yes, I've seen his videos." Everybody's seen your videos.
So yeah, I mean, I suppose I don't really see that side of it, but I appreciate it is quite a niche thing, even within the modelling world, isn't it? But it's I think a lot of people watch the videos just because they find them relaxing. Even people that are not really interested in model flying as such just find it actually quite therapeutic. I think just because it's calming music, calming flying, and that kind of thing. But you say the video's been going since 2008, but I think it's only within the last 2 years that it's really grown, and it's as a result of kind of putting the video on of the Leprechaun.
Yeah.
The video channel kind of really took off and got bigger off the back of that, really. So
yeah, and now everybody wants to fly something like a Leprechaun or a Super Sinbad, and everybody you go on the various forums online, and everybody across the world is building something like that to fly, and it's probably all from seeing what you're doing.
Well, I don't think of myself as
because you see people are copying and pasting your videos onto all these different forums, so that's
Well, I don't see myself as a trendsetter. I'm just I'm just doing what I enjoy, I suppose, and it's it's glad that I'm just glad that other people like it and get some pleasure out of it. So it's
great. So one of the guys I fly with locally in South Wales, Clive, he wants to know, out of all your gliders, which is your go-to model? Which is the one that you think, oh, I want to fly this one again today. I love flying this one.
It's such a hard question, because a lot of the time the last model that you've always built is always your favourite, because you think, this is great, because I suppose it's new and you haven't flown it much. But I suppose there are certain models that I always go back to, and it's for a number of reasons, I suppose. And it's I suppose if I had to list a few of my all-time favourites, there's one that I haven't got anymore, which is my Sinbad. And I sold that just because it was just getting so tatty and beat up, and so I will be building another one at some point. And I guess that one, again, it's just a nice size, so it's not... I suppose the bigger the model, the bigger they are, they always fly better. But when you get to a certain size, they start to get impractical. They're harder to store and harder to carry.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I suppose the best of both worlds. It's big enough that it's got some presence in the air, but it's not so big that you can't get it in the back of your car and all those kind of things. And it just looks good and it flies good. And I suppose another go-to model would be now one of my own designs, which is the Ocean Breeze. And I suppose I did that to some extent based around the Sinbad, in that I wanted to kind of build my perfect model. So again, around the same kind of dimensions as the Sinbad, but I quite like models that got a big wing chord, because I know they're not the most efficient gliders, but where I fly off, you don't always need an efficient glider. But it does mean that the wing loading's really low and you get a real slow stall speed, which is really good for doing those hand catches and things like that. So I just wanted to, with the Ocean Breeze, I just wanted something that was kind of simple to build, quick to build, flew really well and kind of looked good in the air. So I think I've achieved it with that. So that's another kind of one of my favourites. And then also, I know it's a real basic model, and I know a lot of people have learnt on this one, it's just the Gentle Lady. And again, probably for around the same kind of reasons. It doesn't look as good in the air because it's a more of a conventional style model with a thinner kind of fuselage. So it probably hasn't got that same kind of presence in the air when it's being filmed, but it's just a nice and easy rig glider. So that's another thing I like about gliders. It's some of these vintage ones, they're just so easy to get going. You don't have wing bolts and servo leads to put in and lots of complicated bits. You literally rock up on the slope, plug your battery in,
and away you go.
Elastic band the wind on, chuck it off, and away you go.
Nice. And you were saying to me earlier about you upscaling a Bird of Time to, what was it, 144 inch? Did you say?
That's a project still in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got all the bits cut out, ready to go. I'm quite lucky that my dad likes cutting out bits of balsa on his bandsaw.
Oh, that's handy.
So I've got a large format printer, and so's my dad as well, and a vinyl cutters for doing graphics and things like that. So very lucky in that respect. So quite often my dad will cut out bits of balsa wood for me and just produce it as effectively a short kit, and I just build it from that. So that saves obviously a lot of time and a lot of the tedious effort that goes into building a model. So yeah, but yeah, watch this space. It's not. I've always got an idea of. I've probably got, I don't know, 20 or 30 gliders that I want to build at any one point. Thinking, I must get around to doing that, and this is another one I want to build. That's another one I want to build, and some get put on the back burner, and all of a sudden you get inspiration for something else you want to build. And so yeah, I don't think I'm going to build the extra large Bird of Time anytime soon. No. But I've got a few before that I want to kind of get on and do. So. And
then another guy I fly with, Josh, he wanted to know how do you manage to build so many models, and what do you do for storage? Because it seems that every video you got a new model that you're chucking off the cliff.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose over the years I've built so many models that you actually get, I suppose, getting to know what you're doing is the wrong thing, but you just get your own way of doing things.
Yeah.
And I see the models as very much a sacrificial thing, and maybe that's the wrong thing to say, but I know that no model is ever going to last forever. And I think the way that I do fly them close to the ground and catching them and things like that, you are kind of asking for trouble sometimes. And although it's not always on the video, sometimes they do have harsh landings and get broken, and they're fairly easy to repair, and you kind of patch them up. But when I'm building a model, I don't throw it together, and they always fly well and they kind of look nice when they're done. But I suppose I can build quite fast because I know what I'm doing, and
yeah.
I suppose also I don't spend all day building. I'll do a little bit, and you can then go off, let it to dry, and we'll go off and do something else, go for a walk, have a game of tennis or whatever, and then the model stays fresh, and it just goes along quite quickly. And I only ever build one project at a time, because when I start something, I'm always quite keen to see it through and eager to get it flying, and I think that really helps with kind of.
Is that impatience, or is it just?
Yeah, I don't think I'm churning the models out, but I know that if I stop building something and start another project, it's very hard to then get back to the original project again. Yeah, and I enjoy the building side of it. Like I say, I know a lot of people don't, so it's not really a chore. It's for me, it's half the fun of the hobby. So
yeah. Okay, so we know about this hobby. Well, what else do you do to keep yourself busy in sunny Perranporth as it is today? I guess you'd be down the beach possibly.
Yeah, we do a lot of surfing. Yeah, we've got surfboards. That's kind of one of the reasons why we moved and live so close to the beach. We enjoy the surfing, and we do a lot of walking. Luckily, me and my wife enjoy each other's company, so
oh, well, that helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot. And she comes up flying with us, obviously, when we're up the slope, and we've got a tandem bike that we do a lot of cycling on, and nice. play a bit of tennis and all kinds of stuff, really. So it's not all about the models. It's yeah.
Your Caroline's filming skills have improved immensely. They've been she's become part of the team, really, isn't she?
I mean, it's interesting looking back at the older footage, and I know we got kind of better cameras, video stabilisation stuff, and all that kind of thing. But there is a real art to it, and yeah, I'm just blessed. I can't do it. If I try filming someone else's plane, it's just shaky and horrible. So,
well, we'll see how you manage to get on. I think we want to get to the slope and go and do a bit of flying.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a perfect day for it today. I think it's about 5-6 mile an hour westerly. So where we fly, you'll see it in a minute. But there's basically two slopes. So there's the westerly slope, which we'll be flying off today, which is quite a nice slope because it's got quite a nice smooth rolling top.
Yeah.
And I think some of those videos where I'm kind of low and just hugging the slope and flying back and forwards are all on that westerly slope. And it's all part of the same bit, but if you just go around the corner from where that big rock is that you see on the videos, then you're off the kind of north face of the slope and overlooking the beach, and you get some quite nice views over that side, but you probably won't see that today.
No. Okay. Great. Well, look, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah,
it's been marvellous meeting you. And
let's go do some flying.
Let's go do some flying. Thanks a lot. See you later. Oh, that's nice and gentle.
Little bird behind
yeah. So we got a very light wind. So what is it, about 4, 5?
Yeah, I've got a little anemometer in my...
Yeah, it's not doing much, is it?
I'll have to measure it. Yeah, it's probably about perfect for this day. Because when the wind strength picks up, you're really having to put a lot of nose down in, and it's nice and smooth at the moment. So I'm just going to wander back up the slope a tiny bit, and then you can get it coming along the path quite nicely. So that
Okay.
the lift drops off a bit up here.
Woo. No, you're right at the moment. Very majestic.
But another thing with this one, if you look here, you can just put the transmitter on the floor, and she's now just tapping on her own. So,
That's just showing off now, isn't it? Like the way that gold sort of glints. Whoa! Duck.
the gas pop, yeah.
Oh. Remote too?
Yes.
That's good then.
How'd you find it?
Yeah, different. Everything's very gentle and slow and constantly on the rudder, aren't you, for turning, because it always wants to straighten up when
yes, it's incredibly stable.
Have you ever sort of flown anything on here and thought, ooh, is there enough wind for this?
Well, it's surprising how much get out you've got here, although when it's on the video it actually looks like it's just going straight off into the sea. The coastal footpath is a good kind of 50 metres below us, and it's fairly kind of gently sloping down to that footpath, and only then does it get steep.
Yeah.
So if you launch it from here and it's not going quite as you think it's going to, you can still land it below you without too much trouble. Because it always looks like you're out over the sea as well. Where you are now, you're still
quite away from
you're still well over the land. When you put a GoPro on it and it's looking straight down, you realise just how far out the sea is from where we're flying.
Yeah, I know when I've flown at St Agnes before now, and I have been over the sea, and for me it's always a bit like a butt clenching moment. You're over the water, what if things go horribly wrong, you know.
Oh, screen's just gone blank on this.
Oh, sorry, just touch the screen and it'll come back on. Should do.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll
Scale
do a
work.
swap and all that. Oh, well done.
You go around again, I'll do that again.
Right.
See if you can oh, she's in. Okay, ready to launch?
A bit more exercise. Okay, we'll do a swap and I'll
So if you just face her out to sea,
yeah.
and you just pop the transmitter on the ground. She's
Okie dokie. There we go. Look at that. Brilliant.
There we go.
Thank you. Right, I'll get something of my own up. So look at that, there's my micro bird of time on the tail plane of the thermalist.
Yeah,
That's it. It's tiny, isn't it? So big one against the little one.
surprising how similar they are in speed, actually.
Yeah, it is. Ooh, nearly lost it.
Probably not quite as efficient over the back.
No, it isn't. A bit more weight will carry yours over. What an amazing place to fly as well.
Yeah, like I say, you get a better view off the north slope because you get the beach in the background. But
Right.
this is probably a better slope.
Let's bring this into land, I think, and then I'll set up the big bird of time. Yay! So I haven't flown this since autumn last year, when it was on my local slope in, I don't know, about 12 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour, something like that.
See how it goes here.
Yeah, feels quite heavy actually.
Get out of your way, hold on.
Okay, thank you. All right?
Yeah.
Okie doke. Oh well, it's up. So now I know when I'm on my local slope and the wind is as light as this, A big bird at a time will fly in it. You got problems with your other bird at a time?
The little pin that moves the all moving tail up and down. It's
Oh,
just got
okay.
a bit of wobble in it. It's flying, but it just feels not quite right.
Right.
Get the super glue out and see if I can glue it back together without gumming it all up.
Let's try from the other direction.
Carries a bit more speed than mine.
Yeah, there's a bit more weight, I think. As soon as it turned into the wind, it just wanted to go up. So that's fine. No people coming from our left.
Classic shape, the old bird of time.
Oh, isn't it just, you know, everybody loves it, don't they? And there've been so many different copies.
I've got the balsa parts for an even larger one, 144 inch.
Oh, wow. Have you just scaled up the original plan, or?
Yes. But it's just one of those, always got like 10 or so gliders waiting to be built.
Yeah. Quite often get people stopping and asking about the models and how much they cost, and
Yeah. Normally, how far away can you fly? Was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
question you get asked.
Right, what's that?
Oh, is that
I was just wondering, it's a paraglider, isn't it?
Parachutist, I think.
Or a parachutist, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear the aircraft?
Yeah, in the
Running
background.
away, yeah.
And there she goes. Brilliant.
Cool, happy days. Right.
So wow, what a fantastic session that was. We got to fly the Micro Bird of Time. I flew my Dynaflight Big Bird of Time. John with his Thermalist. He was going to fly his plan built Bird of Time, but he had a problem with the elevator, so decided against putting that up in the air. What can I say? Absolutely brilliant. I've still got a few days left down here, so I'm going to be heading back to those slopes where I was with John today, and I head out to the other slopes over at St Agnes and fly there as well. I might even try this evening, leave it until the sun starts to go down a little bit, and maybe do a bit of filming and flying there, take the Bird of Time out again, because I was really surprised with the Bird of Time. I didn't really know what wind strength I could fly that in, and when I first flew that today, we only had, well, probably 3 or 4 miles per hour of wind, and it was flying perfectly in that. And then we went back for a second session, which I didn't video, and it was probably, I would say it was over 10 miles per hour, and it just needed a few clicks of down elevator trim, and yay, it was flying around quite happily in that. So I know now, when I get back to my own slopes in South Wales, when it's a beautiful sunny day like today and it's just a light wind, I'll just take the Bird of Time with me, and I'll just cruise around flying that. Take an armchair with me, you know, some drinks, you know, and have a relaxing day's flying, just mooching around, you know. Excellent. Look, if you've enjoyed this video, oh, by the way, I'll put a link to John's channel in the description box below. I'm sure you won't need it. You're probably all watching his channel anyway. What, with nearly 31,000 subscribers, I'm sure you are. Anyway, if you've liked this video, give it the thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so I can get 30,000 subscribers as well. Cheers, guys. Happy flying.